Okay, for this third video for Project 1, I'm going to show you how to get everything set up to where you can begin your drawing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open the image again. And there you see I've applied my posterize, and it's a black and white image, so there's a lot of definable areas to trace. So first thing I want to do is zoom in. So I'm going to go to my toolbar here and grab my magnifying glass. Okay, and we're already on zooming in for it. And if you go, let's see here, let's go ahead and zoom in. And you can go extreme too if you want. You can really zoom in there. And that looks pretty good right there. Maybe even go a little more like that. So I'm going to really zoom in and check out my image here. Now before I do any drawing though, I want to create a new layer so I can put the drawing on its own layer, so it's not just on this picture, because eventually we're going to delete this picture. You can see we already have a background layer on the bottom. That's good. We want that white background in the end. And then we have my face there. So to add a new layer to this, we go over to this white document here right in the lower left hand corner. And basically that will create a new layer. So we click there. And notice here we have our width 480 by 640 already set up for us. So go ahead and click OK. And you'll see there's a layer just above my face. I'll be tracing on this layer here by itself. And again, when you turn off the photo in the middle, you'll see the background here is showing up underneath this, which has nothing on it yet. Okay, so now that and make sure you're on this layer, we're going to call this drawing. So I'm going to double click it and just call this the drawing layer so I don't confuse my layers. So now that that's labeled and I'm selected on it, the next thing I want to do is grab my pencil tool, which is also on the toolbar here. So I'm going to click the pencil tool. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and start coloring here. But first I want to see, if you double click it here, it'll show you what your brush style is. So we're going to click there. That's a lot of feathering on the edges, almost like a spray. I'm going to change that to a sharper one, which is the more has the sharper edges there. So I'm going to use that. Size here is 20. The idea here is to bring it down to 1 or 2 pixels. So I'm going to bring this down, or you can just go in here and type. Here I'll just make it 2 pixels so it's easy to see. So we'll start with 2 pixels. Oops, that didn't work. So let me go over here again. And we're going to change that to 2 pixels here. 2.00, let's say, and then let's go ahead and click off of there. Okay, now we're at 2 pixels. And the other thing I want to do is switch to a brighter color. Okay, so again, if we're going to use a brighter color on this, we're going to go to our foreground box down here on the toolbar. Right now it's set to black, but we're going to use a bright color so it's easy to see on our canvas. And that pink looks pretty bright. I think that'll work. So I'm going to click OK. And now I'm set to begin my drawing here, so I can move this aside here. Make sure you're on the drawing layer here, make sure it's blue. And then just go ahead and start your drawing around different values. Let's start with an area that you can see here, like for example this dark black. If I wanted to include that in, I can just left click on the mouse button and drag it. Every once in a while I let off on the mouse button so it saves what I've done, and then just keep going, let off once in a while. Okay, and every once in a while you might want to stop and check your work. Again, I'm taking my hand off the mouse here. And I'm just going to keep going through this. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but the more you can stay on the edges, the better it'll look in the end. Okay, so there's one area that I've drawn. I'm going to back off now. And maybe I'll just do the collar around it here. So I might start here, left click the mouse button and drag. Just take your time, let off a little bit so it'll stay there, and then keep going. If you have a drawing tool and a pad, you could use that if that's easier. This is mainly an assignment, for students that don't have that, and they can just kind of use their mouse to go around and define certain areas. Okay, I'm going to stop there and then come around this way. So here I'm going to continue on by going down this way. And so notice there I went way out of the line, so I'm just going to hit Control Z Remember, Control Z is your undo. And now I can start going down on the line a little better. I let off there once in a while. And just take your time. The assignment calls for 1 pixel, but if you want to go a little bit thicker, you can try that. That might work better for you. I used 2 pixels here, and you can see that it looks really thick, but we're also zoomed in really close, so that won't be a big deal. Okay, so you kind of go to the edge there maybe. Here I can grab, if I go onto the toolbar, I can grab my, let's see, do I have a grabber tool somewhere in here? I'll have to look for that. Hopefully I can find a grabber tool where I can move this thing around. I guess the move tool would work for now. Let's grab the move tool and just move that up, and you can see there's a lot more image, but the canvas might be cutting it off. So I'm going to hit Control Z to bring it back where it was, and I'm going to go ahead and Control Z that, and let's go ahead and continue on with our drawing here. Let's go ahead and keep going here. I'm going to grab the pencil tool and start tracing around the eyes maybe. So see, what you're doing is you're looking for these areas where you can define them with an outline. So we're just going to keep working on that and kind of create some eyes that way without being too obvious that it's an eye. Check your work there. Now I can go maybe around this way, create kind of the look of a pupil, and on down this way. So you can really have some fun with the sketching here, and maybe out this way too. Just keep that all as one unit. Okay, so you can see how I'm using the different values, the different shaded areas, to create my line drawing and to create my values and shades. And that's what makes this assignment so interesting, is that you can do that. Okay, so that's basically the idea, is to find the different areas and draw borders around the areas with different values, and slowly but surely you'll see an image of yourself emerging as a line drawing. Be back in a jiff. Thanks.